I love the bond of this group of people. I love the message of unity. I love the message of people confronting their childhood traumas and learning that by facing them, they free themselves from them. I studied the first one, studied Soph's performance. It was so beautiful what she did, and of course read the book. Well, he's a mirror back to you. He represents your greatest fears, and you have to confront them, and that's what makes him so terrifying to everybody. He's a great actor. I mean, he actually got me on our first day. We were doing a read-through, and he wasn't even in hair and makeup, and he made me jump and scream, actually. He, startled me, so he's really in it. There's a lot of scares. There's more scares in this one, I think, but there's love, there's friendship, there's drama, there's comedy, it's catharsis. It really is a throwback to movies that I love, like Goonies and movies from my childhood.
Yeah, I just watched the first one and went off of that one. I didn't reread the book or anything like that. Yeah, it was just kind of like whatever Finn was doing and being an extension of that. I don't know, just really scary, and it's pretty dramatic. It's kind of about group trauma in a way. Yeah, it's interesting. They're going to be scared, they're going to laugh, hopefully, and yeah, all those things.
I just think that you're going to see, what happens next. That's the first thing. But I think what you're going to see is how the friendships were forged in the first, and how they've kind of, even though they haven't seen each other in 27 years, how those friendships are still there, that chemistry is still there. I think that Pennywise represents, for children, it's something that's the first thing that you see that you're told is something that's good and kind, and then it kind of flips on you, and what you thought was kind and good turns into this evil thing, and it's like almost, it's a realization of horror or fear.
If you're a fan of the first installment, the second just amps up those qualities that Andy Muschietti, the director, showed us in chapter 1. There's a lot more scares, but also the chemistry that the kids had in the first one. As the adult losers, we really tried to emulate that, and I think it shows. We had Bill Hader, and that was a lifeline for us because he's such a funny dude. So there's a real nice amount of lightness and humor in this as well as the dark moments. Yeah, I watched the first one a billion times. Then I just watched clips on YouTube of Jeremy Ray Taylor, the young Ben's performance over and over again. In particular, there's a moment where he first meets Beverly in chapter 1, and she signs his yearbook, and he's listening to New Kids on the Block. And she says something about the new kid, and he blushes on cue. And it's just the sweetest moment. So I took that to infuse into the older Ben. I thought it was a really nice moment to take in as a kind of gateway into the character. At first I thought, it wouldn't be freaky, but he's a really imposing guy. He's tall as it is, and in the Pennywise makeup and outfit, he's like 6'6", right? So he's very imposing. And to work with him is really dynamic. He's almost like working with a wild animal. You don't know what he's going to do. He's got a really frenetic energy. But as soon as they call cut, he's chill. But if you're acting opposite him, you're not chill because you've been really affected by his performance.
It's more than just like a horror movie. It's an epic action adventure. It's like an old school Hollywood movie.
It has the same sentimentality and same nostalgia, but it's just a bigger movie with higher stakes. Well, the Pennywise character is he's like this evil entity, right, that can take the form and shape of anything it wants. I think that the scariest thing, at least when I saw it when I was a kid back in the day, is that it seems to be this thing that manifests your worst fears coming from your imagination. So it seems to me that its power is limitless based off of your imagination. That's terrifying.
I think it lives in everybody. It is that fear, that insecurity, that thing we all had as teenagers that, makes it so that we can't be healthy, happy, free. Looking 27 years later at myself and thinking about my, teenage fears and questioning, the ones that I still have, that still hold me back. That little voice that says, you're not good looking enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not smart enough. So he is a metaphor for the fear that we all employ to hold us back. And so it's up to us growing to beat our own it. And I think that's a big part about, the draw to this story.
I think if you like the first one, you're going to enjoy the second one more. All the emotions that are displayed in the drama in the first one are intensified in chapter 2. It's scarier, and it has a different scale. It's told in a bigger canvas, and it's a story that deserves to be told in a bigger canvas. There's a dialogue between the timelines. So we meet the losers 27 years later, but there are flashbacks to when they were kids. So yeah, you should expect something very emotional, very scary, and epic. When you're directing a movie with 7 leads, you have to know very much where each of the characters is, what each of the characters is going through in every second of this journey. So there's a lot of putting on the same page to do. And no matter how much you rehearse, how much you talk, when you're on the day, there's a lot of talking to do. But it's a process that all of us enjoyed a lot. But it's rare. It's an unusual case of 7 leads, and a lot of them are in many of the scenes.
Fear, of course, laughter, but mostly you're gonna leave the theater feeling great, which is not common for a horror film, but it's what you get from it. Chapter 2. It's a roller coaster throughout the film, 2 hours 45 of heightened emotions, and then you're gonna leave with a smile. We were incredibly lucky that so many people wanted to be in the film. We had 3 criteria to cast the adults. One was that there were excellent actors, check. Second, that they looked exactly like the kids. That was the challenging part. And some were very easy to find, like Jessica, like McAvoy, like Bill Hader, because they're just doppelgangers from the kids. The other 4, we had to look a little further, but we found them, and they are exquisite. And then the third criteria was that we wanted volunteers. We wanted people to be in the film because it was going to be a hard shoot, and we got the best family.